When life gives
with
you
each other.
pressure, make it a precious moment.
This isn't therapy. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. This is not therapy. This isn't therapy.
Hello, and welcome back to another fun,
Flirty
fabulous
episode
of This Isn't Therapy. The podcast about all the stuff people are talking to their therapists about.
Correct.
My name is Jake Ernst, and I'm a therapist. Who are you?
I am Simon Can you put that away? Whoa.
Stick 'em all.
I'm Simon Palick, and I'm not a therapist. But Jakey and I, we are just two friends who like to have conversations about therapy themes. So each week on this podcast, we grab our grubbiest of grubby little paws, we put them on, and then we pull back the therapy curtain. We reach inside, we pull out a theme, a factoid, a question, a query, a quandary, something that is floating around in the culture, and then we bring it here to the pod and have a casual Kelly Couch conversation about it. Why?
Well, it's because therapy themes are everywhere you look. That's right.
That's right.
We keep saying that.
You say that every single
Every
week.
single week we've been saying that.
Speaking of speaking,
Say it.
what are we talking about today?
I know you've been
What are
wanting
the
to say it.
therapy themes we're talking about today?
All right. In segment
Camel
number,
girl.
In segment number 1, we are going to talk. I love our matching camo. This is great.
Unplanned.
Loving.
God's plan.
Yeah, love it. In segment number 1, we're going to talk about an experience from a lovely listener
Yes.
who is having some difficulties around gift receiving.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to maybe try to name that because I think I read it and I'm like, ooh, that's a common experience.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to get
But
to
what
it.
is happening behind it? Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't often do that. Often we come to these with like,
Yeah.
oh, this is the therapy theme. This is what we're going to talk about today. But for this one, I was like, oh, this feels relatable.
But for
But
the
what is
purposes
happening here?
for the purposes of the episode,
yeah.
we might have to find a name for it.
Yeah.
So let's challenge ourselves to come up with a name.
So by the end of segment 1, we will have a name.
We're doing it live.
Yeah.
And number 2, we
Mhm.
are going to talk about goodness anxiety. This sort
I
of
have
like
no idea what this is, and I'm so
this sort of-
excited.
it's a sort of like pressure that like people are coming to therapy
Mm-hmm.
to figure out if they're good people.
Oh,
Yeah. And there's sort of this like underlying idea, like how do I avoid being a problem for other people? Anyway, we're going to get into it.
oh my god,
It's very exciting. Yeah.
wow. Okay,
Okay.
buckle up.
Without further ado.
And without further ado, it's time to.
Yeah, we're going to do a little
go.
swoosh. Can we have the swoosh?
Yeah, we can have a swoosh. Grant, can you put a swoosh here? Let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, thank you. First off, thank you to the lovely listeners, all of you, and the lovely watchers,
Viewers.
lovely viewers,
The people.
the people. Thanks to all the people who engage with us.
Watch.
I don't know what to say. Watch us.
We're so happy you're here.
We're just happy you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for being here and engaging with us in a capacity. So we love. I'm just like, what do we call it?
No, I'm having word finding issues with you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
But all I want to say is we'd love to hear from all you out there. So when you do send us stories, when you send us a question, when you send us a comment and stuff, we love it. We love it. We love it. And thank you for
Yeah.
that. So this lovely listener sent a story to us. And like Jakey sort of said in the first opening of our pod, read it and we're like, oh, that seems familiar, but I don't know what is the feeling, what is happening here. So we're going to challenge ourselves to come up with, do a little bit of excavation and try to figure out what's going on here. So the lovely listener story goes like this. When I receive gifts, sometimes I should feel gratitude, and most times I do, but the odd time I feel really misunderstood and upset that the person doesn't know me well when I'm given a gift I don't like, especially when they definitely know me super well. It makes me feel so bad because gifts are so nice. Just, I feel that sadness. WTH is that all about? I'm assuming that means what the heck?
What the helly?
What the heck?
what do you think? Where do you start with this? Because there's the obvious layer of gift giving as sort of a central theme.
Yeah.
But what's under the hood? Let's do some deeper investigation.
What are your first instinct? Like, what are your first like initial responses?
I asked you.
Yeah, but I read the story.
Ah!
Talk.
Yeah. So again, I think for a few weeks now we've been kind of having this theme around like, does that emotion match the situation? Is it a bit mismatched, too intense?
Accidentally.
Like we're sort
Not
of
intentionally, but
we've been living in that space
yeah.
lately, and I think again it kind of fits here,
Mm.
which is that sadness is the right reaction to getting a gift you don't like.
Yeah.
Feeling misunderstood by your friends and family and
Mm.
people is the right reaction when you receive a gift that you don't like.
Yeah.
And I had sort of hesitated the past few weeks around using that language of right reaction.
Mm.
I meant right as in it makes sense, not right as in the only correct way to react.
And not like Wright, as in like the Wright brothers,
not as
who
no,
like
exact-
invented the
no.
airplane.
And not right as in like right angle or right turn.
Yeah, and not
No.
right as in like, you know, when you have a pen, un stylo, if you're in French Canada
C'est ça.
and you're going
C'est ça.
T.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to caveat that. and
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
like,
I'm so glad you cleared that up.
thank you. People
Because I think
people
people would have been
were-
like,
people took it way too seriously.
yeah.
No, I mean it's the right reaction in the sense that it makes sense and it fits within the framework of what we can expect
Yeah.
in that type of situation. Of course, we're thinking about like what happens inside of us as reactions, but then also like it fits within sort of what we as an organized society want and hope each other to sort of behave.
Mm.
That social contract conversation, right?
Mm.
And so in any case, yeah, gift giving and gift receiving, it seems to be this like weird psychological space where it is there are a lot of emotions attached to it.
Yeah.
I even just think about sort of the rush around gift buying time.
Yeah.
Some people are like planners and will kind of do it in this really long, thoughtful way.
Hi.
And then there are like the really like
Hello, hi.
then there's like these last minute shoppers who are like,
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about the exchange of gifts,
Mm.
whether it's giving or receiving, that seems to like really poke at our psychology, I think.
Totally.
Like there's just something about it's such a signal and a sign about the strength of a relationship, about the strength of a connection, but
Mm.
then also sort of like, is this like physical object?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not trying to get too like heady about this, but
Yeah.
I just think that like these moments like say so much
Mm-hmm.
about us, how we receive gifts and how we give gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I think says a lot about us, right? And so the thing I wanted to point out in the story was that the lovely listener opened with this line here, which is, when I receive gifts, sometimes I should feel gratitude, and most times I do. Period.
Mhm.
That's important, right? That most times they do feel gratitude. They're again more asking about kind of, well, what about these other times
Mhm.
where I'm kind of feeling a bit like miffed and a bit like you didn't really understand me, like, or that was kind of a really shitty gift.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to just to maybe point out here was that it's interesting that this lovely listener turned that into either a comment about the relationship, the
Mhm.
strength of it,
Mhm.
or even like feelings about themselves,
Mm.
right? So it seems like there's this like really sticky, spongy quality to the feelings that they're absorbing or like attaching themselves to,
Yeah.
when maybe it could also be true that they didn't have enough time to buy you a gift that was thoughtful.
Mm.
Like there's also the option we have, right, which is that was a shitty gift and that was that.
Oh, like I don't have to apply the extra meaning that this
It
is now
doesn't-
a metaphor for the strengths of
relationship,
this relationship.
or it also doesn't have to like stick to me as if this is like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
no one understands me.
Yeah. It's
Right.
so interesting though, but
There
like,
are other layers to this onion.
yeah, but there is something like weirdly vulnerable
Yeah.
about giving a gift and receiving a gift.
There's a risk to it, right? Like there's
Mm.
sort of this inherent like, are they gonna like it and how are they gonna react?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I certainly like the reason why I reacted so strongly to this story
Mm.
upon reading it was because of the like relatability. It's so relatable.
Totally.
To get a gift you love feels amazing, and to get
Yeah.
a gift you hate, you're kind of like,
Oh,
okay.
no. I guess you don't know me.
I guess you don't know me, or like you're not really understanding like
Yeah.
what's here. And so in situations like that, where I feel like maybe 9 times out of 10, the gifts have been kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, there's a sign here that they're getting to know me or know me quite well.
Mm-hmm.
For the 1 out of 10 times, I think that's why I sort of say like, oh, okay, that one didn't land, but like maybe that's more something about them than it is about me or us.
Yeah, yeah.
It's sort of just how I approach it. So again, like
Mm.
not to like, not to get analytical about responses because we all have our ways of handling things.
Right.
But again, I just hope it's one of those situations that if it were me,
Mm-hmm.
I would not want that to affect our relationship
Mm.
going forward because I gave you a bad gift.
Right.
So I wouldn't want it to color the way that you treat me or the way that we interact in future because
Yeah.
of that gift.
But I think with totally. And I also hear in the lovely listener, what they're sort of saying is like, oh man, why do I feel this way? And I think,
It sucks. Yeah.
yeah. And I wonder if that maybe is just like more of a comment on like the culture that we have around like the pressure to give the perfect gift. And then, on the flip side of it is receive the perfect gift.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder how they handled it. Like I wonder like what.
an avocado.
Yeah. That's kind of where my mind goes. I'm like, okay, if that was sort of your like reflections or like after effects, like
Yeah.
what was that like in the moment?
yeah.
I might just be sort of like that might be my own psychology at work here, but I'm
What-
kind of like what I want to see what happens.
What did you do? You're just like peering in the window, just being
I
like,
want to know like.
like on Christmas morning, just like.
But the other thing
with
too
your
that
little
I
opera glasses.
that I wondered about was feeling misunderstood can look so many different ways, and I think
Mhm.
that's kind of where I was like, what did that look like? Because sometimes when you feel misunderstood, it could be like you sort of freeze.
Mm.
Sometimes it can be like you get angry. Sometimes it could also be like you get like passive aggressive,
Mm.
or sometimes you just go kind of quiet and you're kind of like, okay, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's later that like as you're either using the gift or storing it away in the closet because you're not going to use the gift, that you're kind of like, fuck them, or like that
Yeah.
sucks,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Are you, what kind of like gift giver planner person are you? Because I used to get really stressed out. I still sometimes do about giving the perfect gift.
Mm.
And I often am like, okay. I got to think of like the perfect gift. I got to give the perfect thing. And I started like chilling out a bit, just being like, oh, it actually, sometimes it is just the thought that counts,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I wonder even to, like in the spirit of us trying to figure out like what was going on so we can come up with a title for this segment, I think we kind of punctured the thing of like, okay, this is a relatable experience being on both ends, but in this like little microcosm of this experience of gift giving, it's sometimes when it goes right, we feel heard, seen, and then when it goes wrong or awry, we feel misunderstood.
But you're right. It is like a gift giving pressure.
Yeah.
I think you're right to like call it that pressure. It seems like there's pressure on both sides,
yeah.
and sometimes it's hard to not to remember right the
Mhm.
next time. I know a few people who, and this is across kind of different places, like old work colleagues to like friends, like,
Mhm.
but I've heard this story before, that there sort of always seems to be like someone in the family who like is notoriously like bad at getting gifts.
Yeah.
Like, so you're always kind of like waiting with bated breath to see like what grandma's going to get you.
Yeah.
Or like what Uncle John is going to get you
Mhm.
because you're like,
You're like,
his gifts are always
Cool.
just a little off.
yeah.
Or there's the families who are sort of like, there's someone who always gives the same gift or like
Mm.
kind of like a remix of the same gift. So
Mm.
you're kind of like, oh, I wonder what socks I'm going to get this year from Auntie Joan.
Yeah. Can we like, just to wrap up this segment,
Yeah.
can you zoom out for a second and like putting on your therapy hat, right? Like we're zoomed out. We're so
Yeah.
zoomed out.
Like zoom out so far.
What is it about the exchange of like giving things to other people and receiving other things that makes that part of our brain go, oh, this is a test. This is a test of whether or not this person knows me or not.
This
Why does it tap into that part of our brain?
it exploits like our basic needs, those instincts that we have to connect with other people.
Okay.
And so you're right in calling it a test. It's almost like an attachment test.
Okay.
It sort of is like the final boss of, are we close or are we not?
Yeah.
And it sort of is that like physical visual reminder
Mm.
of the strength of a connection in a way. Like it's sort of, or let's say it's used that way. I don't think scientifically or empirically we would say that that is a reliable test of the
Mhm.
strength of a connection. But if pop psychology had anything to do with it, of course, I think we would see it that way. And I don't think it's any mistake that we've also seen gift giving work itself into things like love languages,
Mm.
right? We say, this is a strength of your connection. Some people receive love by getting gifts, and some people receive love by giving
Mhm.
gifts. Like there's this whole like
Yeah.
analysis that goes into it, right? And I'm of the sort of belief like it's not that serious, Mary. I think
Yeah.
yes, and I mean in terms of the love languages, but in terms of course,
Because
like,
we know you love them.
because in terms of like giving and getting gifts, you're
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, it feels like attachment is at stake, and because it kind of hacks into that social, emotional part of our brain that is really focused on figuring out, am I going to live or am I going to die, and am I going to do it together with other people or alone?
Right. So do you think the path forward then is let's try to turn down the temperature a bit? Like let's lower the stakes a bit. So if we find ourselves time and time again in these situations where we're like, wow, I feel either like, wow, there's so much pressure to have to come up with the perfect gift. And or I'm on the other side of it being like, wow, this is going to be a test of whether or not this person like
Yeah.
loves me or not.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just like, okay, but let's just not go there
Yeah.
at all? Like, is the work then, could the work be, let's just remove the extra meaning that we have to apply to this interaction. Sometimes people just give gifts for giving gifts.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be an assessment of whether or not this person is close to me.
Instead of dialing down the reaction, I would say treat it as a moment.
A moment.
So just
Like a moment like this.
a moment just like this.
Some people wait a lifetime.
For a moment.
Like this.
Like, no, like this.
No, like
this
this.
one.
Some people wait forever
Just to experience.
this.
Some people wait a lifetime.
For a
Anyway,
moment.
like this.
A moment like
A moment just like this.
this.
And so I would say
Mhm.
that because life is just this collection of moments, right?
Mhm.
That, yeah, that's it. It's not necessarily like a make or break situation. One gift, right?
Mhm.
I think you can treat it as a moment and then react how you want to react, and you have your emotions about it, and then stay with them and let them process through you, and try not to hold on to them.
Mm.
That's sort of the general pop psychology guidance. It's certainly not like that's not how we handle that in therapy, but in any case, I think
Yeah.
treat it as moments. I think is good general advice.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, let's
This whole story feels like that's very human.
yeah,
Like this feels like a story that I'm like
that's so human.
that's so human.
That's so human.
Like you don't have to how we talk about like you don't have to bring every single experience or difficulty or complicated thing to therapy and like analyze the heck out of it. Sometimes it's just like, oh yeah, this is a human response to a very human experience.
I think I found a name for it.
What is it?
I do think it is like gift giving pressure.
Gift giving pressure.
It's like the pressure of giving gifts and getting
Mhm.
gifts. Like
Okay.
Gift pressure.
Gift pressure.
Gift
Gift pressure.
pressure of gifts.
The pressure of gifts.
Precious pressure.
Precious pressure of
Anyway.
giving gifts. Precious moments with
Anyway.
giving gifts. All right, time to move on.
Okay. Going into segment 2, we have a bit of a new topic to explore. Reaching the therapy room, we are pulling out this idea of goodness anxiety.
I'm
And
curious.
so
about
it's sort of
this.
based on this idea that typically in therapy rooms, like there's the goal there, right, is psychological change, and people are asking questions about self.
Right.
So who am I? What do I want? How do I make the change that I want? But there's sort of new wave of things and questions coming into therapy where people are trying to answer this question around how do I be a good person and how do I avoid being a bad person? And so there's now a lot of moral and ethical questions that are coming into, and of course we've always had them.
Oh, I was going to ask you. This is a
In
new
therapy,
thing.
yeah, they've always shown up.
Okay.
I'm just sort of meaning that like there seems to be a new flavor that has entered, probably a lot to do with social media, probably
Okay.
a lot to do with perfectionism and anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot to do with just sort of shift in cultural norms around morals and like what it means to be a good person. And so it seems like the list is growing around how to be good and ethical and unproblematic, right? That's sort of another layer of that.
Okay.
And so it's sort of the antithesis of therapy. If your only job there is you're trying to do an investigation around how to override being human, your only job there is to figure out, how do I be a good person that's perfect all the time and has the right ethics, the right politics, the right thoughts, the right feelings.
Right.
Right. So it creates what is sort of being noted as goodness anxiety, where it's just the pressure to be a good person is just a lot of work. And so then therefore in therapy, the work that you're doing is more anxiety driven work under the surface, right? But the stories I think that sort of accompany them are sort of these hyper unrealistic pressures, and then maybe also a lot of internalized and generated self-beliefs around what it takes to become a good person and not be seen as problematic. And so I think we see that on social media, right? People being afraid to say things online because they don't want to experience being canceled. That would be one example of it.
Right.
We see people not getting involved in politics, or maybe not as active online or in person because of that. They don't want to be seen as a bad person. We see people in workplaces kind of biting their tongues or like not sharing as much
Right.
because they don't want to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
There is a cost to that. That creates this like goodness anxiety,
Yeah.
where you don't want to get in trouble. You want to be a good person. You want to be kind of on the right side of things.
Yeah. Question for you about
Yeah.
that. Is the anxiety sort of surrounding like the perception of good? Like are people more worried about not being seen as a good person, or is it an actual deep dive into how do I know if I'm ethically they're in the right place?
Yeah. And so if we just, can we take a bit of a tangent for a second? Just because I do want to talk about
Jakey,
some
I
of
will
the,
always go on a tangent with you.
I just want to talk about some of like the psychodynamic, psychological pieces that are here.
Okay. Let me get cozy.
So based on various personality structures that we all have, so our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, they all mash up together to create a personality. So that's what a personality is.
Okay.
And so we all have different ways that we experience the world via our personality. And so someone who maybe has a more depressive leaning personality style experiences the world quite different from someone who has an obsessional personality style or a paranoid style or an anxious dependent personality style. So there's these different personality styles that everyone has based on life experience and that. And so in a situation like this, the pressure to be a good person for a depressive style looks a little bit different than it does for an obsessional style. So someone who has a more obsessive personality structure would be, like the name suggests, more obsessed, more ruminating, more focused on what it is that makes up a good person. So they might be more prone to rumination, worry, than the types of anxiety and depression that like drive a lot of those beliefs.
Wow.
Versus a more depressive person would sort of experience that situation as maybe limiting self-belief, that sort of idea of I can't become a good person. And because I'm not a good person, there's like this collapse, this sort of sense of like hopelessness, helplessness around how to move forward from that.
Right.
So we can think about this sort of idea of just having stress around being a good person via these different kind of portholes, these lenses based on kind of who that person is.
So it's almost like so how is that? Okay, so
we should do an episode just on personality styles.
Yeah,
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I recently sort of like just did this like awesome zoom in kind of training about it, and I would love to kind of share some of my thoughts.
I would love to, because I would love to hear more of that.
Yeah.
To bring us just away from the tangent for a second and back to the anxiety of being a good person.
Yeah.
So how does, when you're in the therapy room, how would that kind of show up to you in the therapy room?
There's one major one for me, which is when you have hyper controlled responses, you come off as really mature.
Say that again. I think I understand it, but say it again.
When you are for your age.
Yeah.
This looks different across different
You're
ages.
so mature for your age.
babe. When you are hyper controlled
Yeah.
and your responses are hyper controlled,
Okay.
you come off as mature for your age.
Okay.
And so that means that maybe this hyper control is actually more through the lens of I have to control myself and limit myself, censor myself, because I don't want to be seen as a bad person. I want to be seen as a good person. I don't want to be seen as immature.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be seen as mature. I don't want to be seen as not smart. I want to be seen as intellectual and smart. I don't want to be seen as disorganized. I want to be seen as organized and thoughtful. And so there's sort of this pressure that sort of builds around the maintenance of that identity. Someone who has to control their responses to things rather than just letting themselves either be their age or be kind of in the messy middle, where looking or being 25 can look different across the board. Being 14 looks different across the board.
Right.
Which means that if you just sort of like let your authenticity drive that, then you do get to show up as sort of your messy self, the parts of yourself maybe that are angry or like upset about something or sad about something. There's not all this stress and pressure to be good and be right. And so what that looks like in therapy is the person who comes in treating everything as like there's a right answer. So whenever like a therapist might ask a question or make a statement about something, then the client might respond as just having a right answer rather than it being kind of grounded and rooted in, well, no, here's how it was for me. This like really made me upset when my brother texted me that.
Yeah.
Or when my teacher did that, like I didn't know what to do. And so I got all flustered. I got confused.
Yeah.
Right. And so in the person who's hyper controlled in this sort of pressure and pursuit to be like the goodest person in the room, the smartest person in the room, the most together person in the room, there's the cost to that, right? Which is that you lose parts of yourself, especially the parts that are not always on it, not always together.
Or not always the nicest thought or whatever.
Yeah.
Because from what I'm sort of like gathering from this conversation, it kind of feels like if you like use goodness as like a train track, that everything, no matter how I feel, always has to go in this one direction on this track. It's like sometimes those things don't belong on like the one-way track all the time.
Yeah.
But my question for you is, how do you then balance like the like immaturity or poor decisions or not even mistakes, just like things that are not like socially, the social contract has decided that like this is not the best way to do this.
Yeah. I mean, well, moral surveillance, like when you're kind of like constantly like surveilling yourself, that creates an emotional restraint. So like you're kind of constantly holding yourself back and being held back.
Right.
And so you're not really accessing who you truly are. I relate to this actually, like on a really like deep level.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way?
Similar to our conversation, was it last week about productivity guilt?
Was that last week?
Or
Maybe.
2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And remember how I was saying like, oh, I don't really see myself in that.
Right.
It's not really that's not really like my thing. This is my thing.
This is your thing.
I found my thing.
Yeah, this is yours.
This like pressure to be a good kid and to be like, I used this is not a joke. I used to think in university, probably around like towards the end of it, I would walk into like a room party full of people. I used to think that the goal of being a grown person, like an adult like person, was to be the calmest person in the room. I thought that's what everyone was trying to do. I thought that everyone was trying to be just this like da 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 da. And when I kind of got to that place, I was like, this isn't coming so easy for me. I was feeling sort of like stressed about really minor details about conversations, or like anxious about timing and flexibility and that thing around like planning and rigidities. And, you know, I kind of got to that place where I was like, I popped the bubble and I burst the bubble. Was like, oh, I figured it out. I cracked the code. We just have to be ourselves here. We don't have to do the good thing. the performance thing or the ethical thing, where it sends out the bat signal that like Jake's a good person, Jake's awesome and smart and funny, and it's all perfectionism, as you see.
Yeah.
But this whole like castle that I built crumbled. Like, it was so scary because I was like, oh, I thought we were all driving to this place where at the end of the road we all get to say, oh, I'm so glad I worked so hard on myself because now I'm finally a good person.
Yeah.
I thought there was this like end point that
Yeah.
like we all got to that place around the same time where we all got to be kind of like adults with our friends, and we all had our perfect social life, the perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect marriage, the perfect life, and you all just got to enjoy it at the end of the road. That all the stress of adolescence and all the stress of being in my 20s was going to be worth it eventually. And then my frontal lobe developed fully, and I realized
And you were like,
I got to
You're like, I see sound.
for me it happened around 28
Yeah.
and the bubble burst, and I was like, oh, there I am. And oh, I think we're all just figuring it out here,
Yeah.
which means that no one has to be perfect in this moment, and no one has to be perfect in all the sets of moments that come after this one. And so that's where I kind of did the, why am I working so hard? Why is my engine revving every time I'm like, as if I'm like gearing up to go to war? Like I'm gearing up to like be in the crossfire of all this like stuff that was not even happening. All just magic of my own making, like just fully in my own head. And then when I figured it out, I was like, just felt like the biggest sigh of relief ever. And I think that is part of what we all go through, like growing up, right? Is we kind of, that's like you lose your innocence. You kind of shed those layers of like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what it feels like to be an adult. That's what it should feel like as an adult.
I relate so hard to what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
But I do remember having a similar moment. But I remember now, like where I'm at now in my life, I look back and I wish I could just tell myself, just relax.
Just slow down and
Just
relax.
slow
my
down and
guy.
relax. Like, it's actually not that serious.
My guy, relax.
But I think because you and we didn't know each other in high school. We didn't know each other in elementary school.
Yeah.
I am certain we would have been best friends.
Oh,
in elementary, 'cause
like-
we were cut from the same cloth.
2 P's.
But I remember
2 P's.
but not even just being like consciously like,
yeah.
I need to be a good person. I don't remember having that. I just remember having a lot of pride
Yeah.
in being told I was a good student,
Right.
or like I was a good kid. Like, I remember just feeling like I feel good like about that. And I remember like feeling good about making good choices. And like as I've gotten older, I started to, I hate to do this, like this is what I'm doing to reframe, but like what I've kind of started to tell myself is like, is this the good choice or is this the best choice that I can make right now?
Right.
And that to me is such a
It's just-
shift.
Yep.
Because I'm like, this is the best I could do.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean like that's a cop out. That's like, I'm so used to doing everything at 100% and beyond, which
same.
is most people get away with like 60%.
Oh, same.
So I'm just trying to do 60%, which is probably still 100%.
No, I agree. I mean,
Right?
I'm
With
the same
everything
way.
in every
I'm the
aspect.
same way. You know,
Yeah.
we
Yes,
know
yes,
this.
yes.
But my genetic code shifted
Hmm.
the moment that I figured out that whole like good enough is great
Yeah.
thing.
Same.
For me, it was more about like smart, like being seen as smart. I had this like really big thing kind of around like high school, university, is like I wanted people to know me and see me as smart. And I think that still lingers with me into adulthood,
Yeah.
but I'm just less caring about it now.
Yeah.
I don't work so hard to be seen as smart. I
Mhm.
don't have to like
I just am.
I meant like I don't put the pressure on myself to be right all the time or
Yeah.
smart. I don't get into debates as often as I did.
Yeah.
I don't like get stuck on things that people say as
Yeah.
often as I might have.
Yeah.
I just don't work so hard anymore to be like that person.
Do you find yourself also allowing yourself to like not know something
Yeah.
and
love.
say like, actually don't know that,
Love.
and admit it?
Love it. I mean,
And-
I think I just did it
You just
on
did.
this pod about the gift. Did
Yeah.
I?
Just being like, I don't know this.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I love being able to say I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I used to hate it.
Yeah.
I used to have a really hard time.
Yeah.
I used to have a really hard time being like, I don't know something, because I thought that was like the final conclusion about me.
Yeah. Like with some sort of shortcoming.
Like admitting like, I'm some
Yeah.
fraud who never knew anything before this.
And this is it.
Yeah.
You'll never learn. But like to bring it all back to like this whole goodness anxiety type of thing, how are you sort of seeing it, just to wrap up this conversation, how are you seeing it now form? Like I feel as though the conversation around the permanence of social media and like the performance element of it is just kind of lingering in the corners or in the wings, right? But how are you seeing it like in kids today, or
Well,
young
as
people, or
as the expert, I'll tell you.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not the expert in the room.
Yeah,
but
I'm
as
I'm not the expert, but let me just get
Or
on
just
my...
like, what are you sort of seeing this like anxiety? The only reason I'm bringing that is because I think anytime you and I talk about like our childhood growing up, it looks very different
Yeah.
than now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to just bring it up to the to the current day.
Do you want the nerdy answer or do you want the like...
Dirty answer.
or
give-
do you want kind of like a simple answer?
well, now I want both.
Okay. I'll start with nerdy.
I want my cake and eat it too.
I'll start with nerdy because I really have a hard time separating the nerdy from
cow.
anyway, whatever. There are some fascinating studies that have come out around this problem that you're asking about,
Mm.
and it has found that heavy users of social media, specifically short form video content at an early age,
Mm-hmm.
can progress language development. So that's sort of that like cognitive behavioral like package of skills
Okay.
in young people,
Like people that use or watch or
Yeah.
create.
or that watch
That
a lot
watch
of that
short-
watch a lot of that content.
Okay.
It can progress their language development. So that's where you see a lot
That sounds
of...
like a good thing.
Well, hold on, because
Okay.
yeah, so yes, it sounds like a good thing,
Yeah.
but essentially what it is like the modern version of the really young kid sitting at the adult table and not going to play with their friends.
Okay. Where you're like, you shouldn't
You're
know
just-
this yet.
You're just hanging out with a bunch of adults,
Got it.
right? And so like you again, you present as mature.
Yeah.
You have all these facts about the world,
Yeah.
or you saw these videos about things, because again, you're watching a bunch of adults hang out. You're watching a bunch of adults talk to things,
Mm.
right? So picture of a bunch of 10-year-olds who are watching this conversation,
Yeah.
kind of being like, whoa, is that what it's like to be in your 30s?
It is.
It is.
Spoiler
It
alert,
is.
10-year-olds. It is.
Spoiler, it is.
Yeah.
You would kind of do the like, okay, but like go play, right? So what the cost of that, right, is social and emotional development. And so we want those three pillars to be progressing at the same-ish rates for development.
Mm.
And so typically what we see, the research shows, is a progression in language development, but a regression in social and emotional development. So that means that they're a little bit behind in terms of their social and emotional milestones. Things like emotion regulation, communication, and talking skills.
Mm.
So fascinatingly, their language development and cognition, their thinking,
Mhm.
is further ahead, but the action of emotion regulation or social risk taking, for example,
Mhm.
might be further behind.
Oh, wow.
So you get sort of this mismatch in a fragmentation in
Right.
development,
Right.
whereas we want integrated development where all that stuff is progressing at the same
Mhm.
time. So that's sort of more of a nerdy scientific answer.
Totally.
But the sort of more basic answer is that this presents as a lot of really mature kids who look and present like they're 13 going on 30.
Mm.
And that can be damaging, right? Because they just don't have enough experience in the real world to be 30,
Right.
but they feel more mature than they are. One of the other significant costs, and this is kind of where I will wrap up, is we also are seeing a lot of kids who have lived a lot of lives at a very young age. And so they're maybe coming into high school, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, kind of being like, I don't want to do 8 more years of this. I don't want to, like, I'm feeling pretty listless and hopeless. And, you know, I have to sit through all these classes, you mean, for 3 more years just
Mm.
to graduate high school and get a high school diploma? So you have a lot of smart kids who are kind of like, see the forest for the trees, and they're like, oh, is that what I have to do for the next 4 years, is sit in that class with that teacher and learning about that thing.
Mm.
So that's sort of what I'm seeing is a lot of just depressive kids, right? Talking about personality structure. A lot of kids who their outlook on life is quite bleak.
And that's boils down to we learn too much too quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You've just seen a lot, and you have just had a lot of information to process at that age.
Mhm.
And so ideally, that's why we kind of want the world to be a lot smaller at that age, because you don't have the brain packaging to be able to handle
Mm.
that amount of information, and probably that amount of distressing or overwhelming information too.
Mhm.
So keeping the world small for kids, I think, is a really important outcome of what I'm talking about. Is you just want to keep the community piece, the school piece, the like as kids are getting older piece. Keeping it small is way better than giving them a plane ticket to fly anywhere in the world and not be shocked that they've seen it all. Right,
Mhm.
and not be shocked that they're kind of like, okay, I'm done. I don't like what that looks like.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. So there's sort of the anxiety and depression components of that, right? That kids get quite overwhelmed by that experience. Anyways,
Wow.
in any case,
Yeah.
this is sort of a big conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe we can wrap it up and go to our end segment.
Yeah, but before we do, we have to thread the needle.
We have to thread the
We
needle.
have to thread the needle. Last couple times where it's like,
I want you to do it.
The first one was the lovely listener story
Gift giving.
about the pressures of gift giving. Second one was about the goodness anxiety. So what I see is the perfectionism piece
Yeah, me
that
too.
kind of overlaps between the two.
Totally.
We either have to be the perfect gift giver, receiver, and it kind of like, the goodness anxiety, I think, holds hands with those pieces and parts of ourselves that are like, I need to show up in the most perfect way.
Totally.
So that's my
You nailed it.
threaded needle.
No, you nailed it. That was sick.
Okay, cool.
That was sick.
Don't make me do it again.
Okay, well, okay, fine.
I'm sweating. Okay, let's go on the last segment.
Okay, I'll see you there.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. At the end of every episode,
Yes.
we
We
like to
like to.
resurface
Yeah. Wahoo. Yes.
as much as possible, because again, sometimes we can have like heavy and heady conversations here.
Sometimes, all the time. What are you talking
Lately,
about?
we've been going there.
We've been going splunking.
You
too
know,
much.
we've been going there.
I think
it's-
our next week has to be fun.
Okay.
Can I just say next week has to be fun?
Okay.
Not
Okay.
that this hasn't been fun, but I'm just like,
No, but it takes a toll.
it takes a toll on us, and I'm just like, I don't know.
I know.
Our little space of the world here, I'm just like, we're not the experts in anything, even
But-
though you have some expertise.
No, but I think it's interesting. Sometimes my thermometer, what is it? A barometer? The temperature thing that
Yeah.
where I check like, is this too big of a conversation? Because I'm
Yeah.
just so used to like having the
Yeah.
high temperature conversations.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like have a hard time gauging like how
Yeah.
serious or big it is. But I get exhausted. So you must be also. Like I'm sure we're both just
I
in
think
that-
we're just both. That's why I'm like, next week has to be a fun one.
we're both in that space. Okay.
We're both in that space.
So again, at the end of every episode, we come
Yee.
back up, we resurface,
Mhm.
and this is the time where we answer your questions just like a friend would.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to take every problem to a therapist.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can just like sort it out with someone that you care about, right?
Mhm.
And so if you want to submit your question, you can just go to link in our bios.
Mhm.
You absolutely will be able to find the box. It's very easy to do.
Yep. And
So
it's
if-
all anonymous.
Yeah, thank you. And so if you have a question that you want to be answered, read live, we'll do that.
And we'll try our best.
Exactly. So without further ado,
And without further ado,
this is
Asking for a Friend.
Cue the music.
Okay.
All right, this week our lovely
it.
listener would like to know. Oh my goodness.
What?
Oh my god.
Why are you laughing? What's the question?
We literally were just like, "Hey, we want to have fun." So
This
our,
is a deep
so
conversation.
our lovely listener,
Ah.
our lovely listener would like to know. And how about this?
What?
I can make a promise, a pinky promise to the lovely listener.
Mm-hmm.
We will come back to this question in a bigger segment because I think it requires a full segment to talk about,
Okay. I'm
not
scared.
an end segment where we are coming up.
We're trying to resurface.
But, you know, we're going through the box and this is what comes up.
Okay.
This person wants to know,
Here we go.
how do I deal with childhood trauma? Do I need to talk about it with others, like my husband, friends, or even a therapist? Okay. So here's my pinky promise.
Okay.
In a future episode,
Yes.
we will come back to this. We're going to talk. We don't talk about trauma often just because of many sort of layers of it. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But we will do an episode maybe on childhood trauma, something that connects and answers this question
Yeah.
more in depth. So stay tuned for that maybe in like 2, 3, 4 weeks time.
Sure.
I want to do some planning for it and we'll
Yeah.
like kind of make it nice.
Find like a way that we can access it.
Yeah. But
Because go ahead.
because this also, again, and the reason I think why I feel strongly about answering this question and diving in first
Mm-hmm.
is also because this is a question that maybe you don't take to a friend, that it's a great piece to address with a therapist, right?
Yes.
But in terms of just this question, dealing with childhood trauma looks differently across the board for
Right.
everybody, depending on what you experienced. But it's really about how the nervous system holds that experience. And again, that's different for everybody, right? But the question maybe we can answer is, do I need to talk about it with others, like my husband, friends, or even a therapist? Maybe that's the more asking for a friend question,
Yeah.
right? Which is, no, you don't have to talk about what you're working on in therapy with your people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also really nice too and helpful too that
Mhm.
you can bring other people into your experience.
Yeah.
But I understand everyone's different and not everyone's ready to have those conversations, right? That
Yeah.
you can have in a protected space.
Mm-hmm. You know what I think about too is like you maybe don't have to go into the iceberg, you know, like the thing with the iceberg where you just see the tip. Maybe the tip you can like bring to your family and friends, and then the deep stuff you can maybe focus on, hey, that's work that I'm going to do with a therapist or someone who can help guide me through it. Because my understanding is like childhood trauma is very individual, very like nuancy, very specific to the person.
Yeah.
Like that's you want like a guide.
Can I add
Yeah.
an annoying final therapist take?
Yeah.
You already are talking to the people in your life about all of this.
Because it's coming up anyways.
It's coming up.
Well, that's
It's
what I was
showing
gonna
up
say.
in behavior.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
showing
say,
up in the way that you interact
see?
with each
You did
other.
it. You did it.
It's showing up in the personality dynamics that you are like meshed in with. It's already showing up.
Mm-hmm.
You just might not be conscious of it.
Yeah.
You're already talking about it, just not using the language of probably verbal words.
Yeah. Cool.
You're already talking to each other about
Cool.
it. You just got to find probably the language that's going to work for both of you.
That's so good.
That's it.
That wasn't annoying.
Listen.
That's better than my iceberg thing.
no,
Because I was like,
personally I loved the
you know, like an iceberg
where you put your
could-
fingers together.
You put your fingers together, and the tip could be the thing, and then the deep work in my brain. Sometimes I'm like,
I want to be there so bad.
but I've realized, and I've always had this, but I did not realize how intense it is. I am such a visual person.
Same.
I am so
Same.
intensely visual that I've started realizing more and more is that when I recall things, I see them.
You like replay the whole thing. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
the same.
So
I'm the same.
I'm constantly making like visual metaphors and like colors and stuff like that. But if you give me auditory instruction, I'm at a loss.
You're kind of like, we're the same.
I can't. I need you to repeat it. Like when people say their names to me, I'm like, can you say that again? Because I have to spell it to see it.
Yep. I think that's part of the reason I'm a therapist who relies on stories is because I picture the stories happening as I'm being
Yeah.
told them.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like watching little movies as people are telling me,
Yeah.
which is why I can remember the details of that very well. But
And
like
while
you're
you're
saying-
doing that, talking about you're doing movies, well, I make movies.
Yes.
Why do you think I make movies?
Listen. Oh, come on. If you like what you heard, and if you want to come back for more,
yes,
then you should do that next week.
absolutely.
With us. Please like, comment, subscribe. Please
Yes.
join us online. That
Yeah.
is how you can tip us or support us or get involved. Or
Yeah.
just support the pod. That would be generous and gorgeous and fun.
Yeah, we love hearing from you.
Yep.
It is one of our favorite things in the world.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye, stars.
Bye, stars.
This isn't therapy.
Are you?
It's the pressure Make sure you using your precious moment.
When life
with
gives you
each other.
pressure, make it a precious moment.